Here's some good news tonight for residents of some west side neighborhoods that are prone to flooding.
Yeah, the cause of their flooding worries is Volla Creek. So it's fed by the larger Oso Creek and snakes through some residential areas. Volla Creek is notorious for flooding during heavy rains. For years, that flooding has been a nightmare for residents of three neighborhoods, Las Colonias, Los Encinos, and Molina. And it's not just floodwater that they have to deal with. Flooding isn't the worst of it. A city wastewater treatment plant sits at the corner of Greenwood and Saratoga. In the past, floodwaters have carried raw sewage into the nearby Las Colonias neighborhood. And we've brought you up to speed now on that problem.
Now a look at the solution, right? The city's plan is a detention pond to hold back those floodwaters. That pond will be built on 130 acres of land just west of Holly and Greenwood. Andrew Christensen joins us now live from near there with what the city plans to do to hold back those floodwaters. Hey there, Andrew.
Hey guys, this is the area where the detention pond is going to be built at. Now I want you to take a look at just how close it is to the houses that are in the area. The houses are right over here, and this is where some of the houses get flooded. Now luckily the detention pond is actually going to be in this area, and some of them do get flooded. Now this is the area that Councilman Roland Barrera oversees, and he tells me there's going to be two parts to this project. Now the first part is of course the detention pond. The second part is a tributary, and that's basically like a stream that flows into the detention pond. Now I talked to some residents and they tell me they're still afraid that some floodwater will get into their neighborhoods. Nydia Quiros thinks back to 2010.
Well, I have two kids, so I had to go somewhere else with them to my cousin's house.
Back then, her home was flooded by Volla Creek.
Right here, as you can see.
Quiros showing me the damage to her house.
Here in 2010.
That can still be seen today.
You couldn't even go inside that night it happened try to see what was still there, like pictures and everything, important things.
She says soon after, a lot of people moved.
And ever since then, every time it rains, the people get worried that it might happen again like that.
The city is building a stormwater detention pond to help alleviate flooding in the Las Colonias neighborhood where Quiros lives.
What it does is water will flow into it and be stored and be released slowly during a rainfall event.
The pond will cover about 120 acres and hold about 200 million gallons. The water will then be released slowly into Volla Creek and ultimately Oso Creek,
which is basically...
District 3 Councilman Roland Barrera says the pond will also provide flood control for the Molina and Los Encinos neighborhoods.
Had we not done this detention pond, then their flood insurance rates would go up. So this helps to reduce the flood insurance rates for all the residents of those neighborhoods.
Quiros holding on to hope the city will help her neighborhood.
Fix everything here, so that and everything can, all the people can live in comfort.
And you might be left wondering what's going to happen to that detention pond when there's no water in it. Well, Barrera tells me that it's going to be turned into a park, and he says that construction will begin in October of this year and it'll be finished in January of next year. Reporting live in Corpus Christi, Andrew Christensen, Chris 6 News.
Andrew, thank you so much. A lot of relief for a lot of those residents out there. Well, that detention pond, by the way, will cost just over $14 million to build. Half of that will be paid through a grant from the General Land Office. The city of Corpus Christi will pick up the tab for the other half.